DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from DocTalk. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about beef quality assurance and transportation. There's a new BQA transportation module and certification, whether you're hauling cattle from your farm and ranch or if you're a professional hauler. It's a great resource for you.
As dependable as the sunrise, in dairy parlors, open pastures, on ranches and feed yards across America. A place where reputation is more than a name, where the science of healthier animals is a way of life. It's the responsibility that drives who we are and what we do. Every decision, every day. It's your livelihood and our responsibility.
Closed captioning brought to you by Vet Gun with Amel and new AMA Abamectin Vet Caps, the 1-2 punch against hornfly resistance from AgriLabs.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan from DocTalk here. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about beef quality assurance and the new transportation BQA program that has been launched by the National Cattlemen's Beef Association through your checkoff dollars. Have you ever thought about transportation of cattle being probably the most visible point of the beef cattle industry to the public? When we think about it, how many cattle are on the interstate or on the highways or in the truck stops at any point in time during the day across the United States? It's absolutely amazing. And I sit there and think about, how we present ourselves and how transportation is perceived. They say that the average bovine is transported 4 to 9 times during its lifetime. And so when we're sending calves from the cow-calf to the stocker to the feedlot to the packer, and cows going to and from pastures, going for summer turnout, and then coming back in for calving pastures, many different times during the life and course of these animals' lives, these animals are on the road. Now, not only is it important from a public perception that we have the right equipment, the right hauler, the right environment, but it's imperative to animals' health and to the profitability of our businesses that transportation be taken care of appropriately. There are 2 different platforms. If you go on BQA.org's website, and you can see the website here on the bottom of the page, that you can go to and you can get certified in beef quality assurance transportation. You can either do it as a producer, cow-calf and rancher, or as a professional hauler. And when I start to hear the things from the different packer organizations that all people hauling animals into their facilities in 2019 need to have transportation BQA training, I think it's important if you're hauling your own fed cattle or if you're hauling someone else's fed cattle, and it might mean market access, that you go to the website and go through. I've done the certification, and then I've also taught the certification face-to-face to different trucker organizations and transporters. What I can tell you is this is simply some of NCBA's finest work. When I go on that website and I look at their online training, the tutorials and the ability to do it, nothing's ever going to be better than face-to-face, but this is pretty darn close. So go on the website and take a look. Some of the things we're going to discuss today is associated with transportation. We're going to talk about making sure we have the right animal on the truck. We're going to talk about that we have the right driver and the right climate and the right equipment for hauling those cattle. And then we're going to talk about things such as making sure that we're doing the right things to plan our trip, a checklist before we take off, before we load, before we drive through to our destination and make that path. All the different things on a checklist that can help you make sure that we have a safe route for you as the driver and a safe and humane route for the animals that we haul. Many different things that we're going to talk about today include fit for transport, the microclimate within the trailer, what we're going to do when we ship some finished cattle, and then at the end we'll talk about things such as planning our route. Thanks for joining us today on DocTalk. More after these messages. Thanks for joining me today for Boehringer Ingelheim's Cattle First. When we start to think about labels that are on bottles of antibiotics, it's extremely important that we follow them. The first thing that's on the label, what species is this indicated for? So it might be for cattle, for horses, for dogs, or cats. Once we understand the species that these products are labeled for, what's the indication? Bovine respiratory disease. Could it be for foot rot? There's a list of species, indications. After that, what's the dosage, what's the route of administration, and then what's the withdrawal time, or the time in which it's safe to take an animal to slaughter from the time in which the animal was last treated until that animal was slaughtered. So, species, indication, dosage, route of administration, withdrawal. All of these are important components on a label, so make sure that you follow them and use antibiotics judiciously. Boehringer Ingelheim's Cattle First.
When you're in the cattle business, no matter how much it's a business, it still starts with cattle. It's this basic notion that sits at the core of how we approach things at Boehringer Ingelheim. We understand when you put the cattle first, it just naturally leads to doing the right things. If you want to do well in this business, you start by doing right. Take care of the cattle, and they'll take care of you.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment brought to you by the new Hired Hand Portable Cow Sprayer. For more information, visit cowsprayer.com.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson here, and I'm at Kansas State University. And today, here at the College of Veterinary Medicine, we're discussing transportation beef quality assurance. And again, if you go to www.bqa.org and click on transportation, you can find their online transportation education portal. And it takes you probably a couple hours to go through, but it is some great information. And when you're done, you'll get a packet mailed to you with your certificate that shows that you're a certified transporter. But they'll also give you a card that you can carry with some interesting facts and numbers that you can call in case of emergencies and things when you're transporting cattle. So go on the website and get certified. Get your BQA certification wallet card so that when packers that are going to require BQA transporter training to haul cattle into their facilities, if you're hauling them for yourself, hauling them for a neighbor, hauling them for a company, that you'll have that certification. Now, let's first talk about our first area of interest, and that is making sure we have the right animal. The OIE, which is the World Animal Health Organization, has what we call the OIE Terrestrial Code for fitness for travel. And this is set up for air, land, and ocean or water transportation of cattle. And cattle that are not fit to transfer are ones, first of all, we don't want to put any animals that are sick, injured, weak, or debilitated in any manner on the truck. Those animals do not need to go into the food supply chain, and those animals they're not strong enough for transport. What we're really trying to do is make sure that we don't send animals that we don't want to go into the supply chain, and the second one is we don't want to send an animal that's too weak to withstand the rigors of the travel. Any animal that's not able to stand or one that can't bear weight on a leg should not be shipped. And when you ship those to a packer and those animals wind up going down on the truck, that animal is then euthanized and tanked. So making sure that we send animals that can bear weight, that can withstand travel, transport, the jostling around is very, very important. We want to make sure that we don't send any newborn animal, and we don't want to send any animals that are in the final 10% of their gestation, or one that has just given birth within the last 48 hours. So we can't send cows that are close to calving on the truck, and we can't send animals that have just had a calf on the truck. Any animals that have a wound or an open wound should not be transported. And other things such as prolapses. Animals that have a prolapsed rectum, vagina, or uterus should not be transported. And so it's some common sense things, but when you sit back and you think about it, when we have a prolapsed uterus, that thing is so heavy, and if that would break off, the uterine artery, the animal would bleed out right there on the truck. So we don't want to send animals that are sick, injured, or weak, and specifically we don't want to send animals that are three-legged lame or ones that are lame that could get worse during transport. Those are just the fitness to transport. It's a list that was developed by the World Animal Health Organization. When we come back, we're going to start talking about things you can do to make sure your trailer is ready and planning the route of transportation. You're watching DocTalk. Get BQA certified. We'll see you after these messages.
Your investment in the Beef Checkoff is opening new doors for beef. Today and tomorrow, our commitment to long-term planning helps ensure your profitability from one generation to the next.
Hello, this is Caleb Plyler and Son Charolais. This is my son Huck and my wife Brianna. And we operate a purebred Charolais operation in Hope, Arkansas. You know, in the business that we're in, the beef checkoff dollars are very important to us. A lot of that money is to educate people, just like kids that's in Huck's class, the importance of eating beef. You know, it's a high protein product that it's a very important part of our diet. Sometimes we get this bad rap as beef is not, you know, what we really need to be doing from a dietary standpoint. But, you know, being able to get to the kids and let them know that, you know, beef, it is what needs to be for dinner. You know, one of the bigger things with our family is getting to go out and show off some of our cattle. Huck, he gets to show a lot of heifers. A
lot of what we do trying to get him into showing is the fact that it's teaching him discipline, respect for the animals, and it's going to continue to give him lifelong skills throughout his life.
But I think it's very important that, you know, the next generation understands how important the beef industry is. Just like Huck here, we plan on him one day operating this farm. And, you know, if we can do that, we're doing what we need to. Because, you know, this country is founded upon people that, you know, have family traditions and do a really good job of keeping those traditions going. Huck, one day, what kind of cows do you want to grow up to have, you think?
Charolais.
Charolais, all right. You know, if the beef checkoff dollars are going to really good causes and really promoting beef, then the consumers are going to want to buy more beef, and that leads for us making more money in the end, and it really helps the quality of people's cow herds because we're able to enhance our genetics even more.
When it comes to stopping hornflies, cattlemen love their vet gun. Today they love it even more because Vet Gun now has a 1-2 punch with 2 VetCap insecticides. New AIM-A abamectin can be used in rotation with AIM-L for effective in-season control. Each delivers a unique mode of action to manage hornfly resistance. So start your in-season rotation program with AIM-L and new AIM-A abamectin VetCaps from AgriLabs.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Hey folks, Dr. Dan here from DocTalk. We're talking about transportation BQA, and go to www.bqa.org, click on transportation, take the farmer or rancher transportation certification, or if you're a professional driver, take that one. Before you take off on the road, some of the things that we need to understand is making sure that we pick the right path and making sure that our equipment is functioning appropriately. We need to check tires, we need to check turning signals, brake lights, many different things, gates, working on the trailer to make sure that you're safe and to make sure that we don't have a breakdown. Because when we're hauling during extreme weather, a breakdown could mean death to cattle that are being transported. Specifically, the 2 types of extreme weather that we talk about or think about is heat stress or cold stress. And heat stress during the summer, some of the things that you can do to prevent heat stress for cattle on the trailer, number 1 is the time of day you haul. Make sure we haul early in the morning or that we haul in the evening. If we can maintain not hauling between 11 a.m. and 4 p.m., that'd be great for decreasing heat stress for cattle that are on the truck. The other thing is, don't pack the cattle too tight. The more cattle we have packed in there, the worse the airflow is in the trailer, and the worse the airflow, the worse that we'll have as far as heat stress events. Another one, and lastly on heat stress events, is making sure you don't stop too often or too long. If we're gonna stop, we wanna make sure it's less than 10 to 15 minutes, and you wanna make sure that you park your truck in a manner that the trailer can catch a breeze or that we provide shade. Don't pull up alongside another truck or pull up along a wall that would impair airflow within the trailer. If you get pulled over by a highway patrolman for going too fast, make sure you let them know that you have perishable goods and live animals in the back, especially during times of heat stress. You won't get out of the ticket, but you might get on the road a little bit quicker. The other one is cold stress, okay? And cold stress, we don't generally think about it here in the States as much as we do in the northern parts of the US and in Canada. But when we're gonna have exposure to cold stress, basically we're thinking about lightweight calves. And if you have the potential to bed those trucks, or if you can board up the sides of those trucks, you can provide a microenvironment that is very good for those cattle as you're transporting them to and from, whether it's auction markets or to packers or things to that nature. Some of the other things that you want to think about when we're transporting is take a look at the weather radar. Before you take off down the road, so before we load the cattle, you should know the route in which you're going to take to get to the destination that you desire. Some of the things you want to look at: where's the road construction? We don't want to have long delays where cattle are sitting and getting hot on the truck. We want to make sure that we look at our radar. Okay, if you're going to haul those cattle through a storm, if there's a way that we can go around or get behind that storm, or maybe wait and haul them tomorrow, you need to take a look at that. Specifically when we're looking at cold stress. Cold stress on cattle that get wet and are in the trailer and then are exposed to cold wind speeds on the transportation, that's when we get those animals chilled down. There's 2 reasons why animals get sick: an overwhelming dose of a pathogen or a suppressed immune system. Making sure that we decrease stress during the time of transport just helps the animal have a better immune system and helps that animal get along a little bit better when it arrives at its destination. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up on transportation here on DocTalk.
When it comes to stopping hornflies, cattlemen love their vet gun. Today they love it even more because Vet Gun now has a 1-2 punch with 2 VetCap insecticides. New AIM-A abamectin can be used in rotation with AIM-L for effective in-season control. Each delivers a unique mode of action to manage hornfly resistance. So start your in-season rotation program with AIM-L and new AIM-A abamectin vet caps from AgriLabs.
Some call it a come-from-behind victory, an unlikely win, a reversal of fortune, snatching victory from the jaws of defeat. This is our moment, our victory dance, because we choose confidence. We choose Zuprevo for BRD treatment. Ask your veterinarian to prescribe Zuprevo. Zuprevo is a fast-acting, long-lasting BRD treatment that you can count on to get the job done. Choose confidence. Choose Zuprevo from Merck Animal Health.
No matter where, no matter why, the Veterinary Health Center at Kansas State University is committed to providing quality patient care to animals and exceptional customer service to their owners. From routine checkups to emergency and specialty care, our world-renowned specialists and experienced professionals are here to discover, to teach, and to heal.
Let us know.
How can I help?
How can we help?
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Ready? Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson. We're talking about transportation of cattle, and one of the things that's very important to me is safety. And I've been in some car accidents, been in some truck accidents, and so understanding some of the things that maybe you have to do if you run into an accident or if you slide off the road with cattle in a trailer, some of the things that you need to do. And when you go to the BQA Transportation, there's a whole section just on what to do in the case of emergencies. And when we slide off the road, the first thing you want to do is call 911, because you could have cattle that get out of the trailer, you might have cattle that are injured within the trailer, but that's the first and foremost, is that you want to call 911. And you want to make sure that you assess the situation. Is there anything that's life-threatening, or is anybody hurt or injured, and do you need to have assistance not only from the highway patrol or from the local sheriff, but maybe do we need an ambulance to go ahead and be dispatched to that area? So once we do that, and once you've assessed the situation and called 911, if you have roadside signs or flares, you want to put those out to make sure that oncoming traffic understands what's going on and that they need to get over or at least slow down, okay? If you're a professional hauler, you want to make a phone call back to your dispatch to let them know. Then the next session is if nobody's hurt and we have some loose cattle, we want to make sure that we kind of get those cattle at least off of the road. And so that's something that we want to think about, is that we want to make sure that the cattle are off the road, because we don't want oncoming traffic to hit one of those, become part of the accidents. We've had times where we've had accidents where people try to dodge the cattle and they wind up being in the wreck that's already occurred because they didn't see the wreck, they saw the cattle. So something to that nature, I think, is very, very important, that we gather up the loose cattle. The other thing is you want to make sure that you take pictures. If you have a cell phone or you have an ability to take pictures of what happened so that you can better explain it to the authorities. Last two things. One, don't allow intruders or people you don't know involved in the wreck to be part of the scene. You will have people that will want to volunteer, and that can lead to some trouble. Only provide statements to police officers or officials that are there on the scene in an official capacity, okay? We don't want to be talking to newspapers, don't talk to telephone or television stations or different things like that. Only provide statements to the authorities that ask you for those. And then last, if cattle are confined in the trailer, don't let them out. We've had a situation where a person came upon a wreck where the cattle had been that are in the trailer. They opened up the door to let the cattle out of the trailer. The cattle then went out of the trailer, went across the road onto the other lane of the interstate, got hit, and the person driving the car was killed. And the person that released the cattle was the one that was held responsible. So we want to leave the cattle in the trailer, wait until the authorities get there, let them handle it, work with you on releasing those animals, but it's just important. Again, call 911, assess the situation, get out your flares and your roadside signage, get cattle off the road, take pictures, only talk to the authorities, and don't let cattle out of the trailer. We appreciate you watching DocTalk today. If you want to know more about what we do on DocTalk, you can find us at www.doctalktv.com. Always work with your local veterinarian. Get BQA certified. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed captioning brought to you by Vet Gun with Amel and new AMA Abamectin Vet Caps, the 1-2 punch against hornfly resistance from AgriLabs.
For more information about this program or previous programs, go to DocTalkTV.com.
DocTalk was brought to you by Merck Animal Health, the science of healthier animals.